Did it work?
Yeah.
It doesn't say you need a trial then, huh? Okay, so then what I would try is just restarting your husband's machine again and then trying it once more, okay? That would be my best guess. If you can message me if it's an issue, but if if it's not telling you a trial right now, you should be fine.
It mentioned something like because when I log into, so this one asked me if I'm a student or something like that.
Yeah,
I put student, even the home one.
yeah.
And then it told me that the administrator, like from your something like, I think it doesn't recognize the laptop as, I don't know.
Well, it worked on your laptop that you brought here though, right? And we didn't have to do that information, right?
Because I'm thinking because I got it from that one. Anyway, I'll send a screenshot.
Yeah, please, please, yeah. If that happens again, it shouldn't. Okay, sorry, I'm recording. We're handling a technical issue here. Yeah, I don't, it shouldn't matter, that Wi-Fi issue. It seems like an anomaly to me, honestly. I would guess that potentially if we run into that thing where you're logging in, it's telling you you're on a free trial, I would always check your email that you put in, because you can register for a free trial. It could also be a free trial, and then it's going to charge you once your trial runs out, if you set that up. So please get me a screenshot. I can tell you. I can't, without it here, I can't really diagnose it. Okay, but we're going to talk about today. We're going to start off by watching some people's stuff. Again, reminder, submit your stuff. We'll view it and discuss it in class. But first and foremost, let's go to my audio settings to make sure everything's set up right. We're going to go through there. There we go. Now we're good. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Where was it? Yeah, I'll just do my desktop. It's fine. Is it Safari? Yeah, it's in Safari. Okay. Mateo sent this. Let's take a look at the edit. All right, let's watch it one more time. All right, Mateo, I think this is a great job. I like the music selection. GTA edit looks good. 22 seconds. It really works really well. There's a couple of changes I might suggest, or something that just didn't flow with me, but I'll let your fellow classmates maybe offer their constructive criticism. Anybody in class have an opinion? Oh, sorry, go ahead. Sorry. Braulio.
Before the zoom in, the beat drop, I like that part, but before that, there's a transition that basically transitions off beat for me.
Transitions off. Okay, I'm gonna hit play.
The first two transitions, they were really on beat with like the chord or something.
Sure.
Like that spin thing, I think it would have been more effective with a chord, or more lineable chord.
Well, I get what you're saying. It could be more powerful, but he is cutting it to the word. So that edit didn't really bother me, especially with emotion. But I get what you're saying. Yes. That one kind of flowed for me. Actually, what bothers me at this early section is that edit right here. Because of the flash that you have in between these two shots, it almost feels like a flash frame because the image of this car driving has these like strobing light effects, right? Do you see that flash? It really makes this dissolve super apparent. Like watch how there's actually, and YouTube's a horrible way to go frame by frame. There might be a flash frame in between two different shots in here.
What if you go slow?
Oh yeah, thank you, slow-mo. All right, let's watch slow-mo here. Oh, not enough. Okay. So look, the image that we're seeing is this back of the car, right? So as we dissolve, we can still see the back of the car. That doesn't bother me. It's boom. Look, you cut between an edit point. So it's actually two shots that you're cutting through. Now we have the shot change and it's in the middle of your dissolve. So how do we fix that? Well, we fix that by either making the dissolve happen faster so that you only have a limited amount of footage between this shot and then obviously this shot changes to something else that we're editing out. So either make the dissolve sooner, make the footage, you could do slow-mo on the footage, you can do a whole bunch of different options and we'll play around with that. But Mateo, does that make sense to you? I'm actually going to stop my screen share so I can see. Let's see. Thank you. It does make sense. Okay, great. And I can show you more examples if you saw that. But okay, I'm going to go back to sharing because I wasn't done talking about everything. But that brought up, that is just one of those things where I catch it every single time. My eyes are trained to see that. In fact, most of the time when I'm watching something, I'm just watching at the edits, making sure. And it's like a not a sixth sense, but like it's one of those things where like I'll watch that edit. And honestly, I didn't even know it was a flash frame at first. I thought I watched that and I'm like, there's something wrong with that edit. And we caught it. Let me share my screen one more time. I feel like I probably didn't share the sound for those at home, so that's a bummer. But let's share the screen one more time. All right, we're sharing. We should go full screen here though. All right. All right, let's watch it one more time. Also, Mateo, I want to point out, I liked your wipe, but is there a way to make that wipe more effective? Did we all see the wipe? Let's watch it again and keep track for a wipe. We learned about that in the last one. Where'd our audio go? Oh, it's in slow-mo. All right, guys, come on, give me normal. All right. Let's check it out. Did we see the wipe that time? How effective is that wipe? Let's just watch it one more time. Mateo, to me, my instinct with that wipe would be to have it, like I noticed it the first time. I don't think many others noticed it until I brought it up. I didn't want to do another jump cut for that part. I thought the car drifting would blend a little. Yeah, and I think what's happening though is I would almost want the drift to initiate the wipe rather than come after it. Also, I think the biggest issue, what's up, Geronimo? Thank you so much. I appreciate it. You saved my life. Thank you. I think the biggest issue, and I don't think the wipe isn't working. I mean, I don't think the wipe doesn't work here. I just think that you are wiping frame right or frame left to right. You're wiping frame left to right, but our motion of the shot that we're wiping on is going, the car's motion is driving in the opposite fashion that the wipe is going. So I almost think like, what if you tried the wipe in the opposite direction?
So because there's bridge right there too.
Yeah.
Is that there could be a camera obstruction where it goes black and that could get filtered.
100%. In fact, Jason's right that we can use this bridge obstruction that's right here as a wiping mechanism or a cutting mechanism. So, but the problem is I would like time it so that actually, and you would probably use the left to wipe there.
Yeah.
So I would use that as the wipe. Maybe that's the issue. That's a good call, Jason. So so Mateo, definitely try. Yeah, there's a flash frame at the end too. We're gonna get there. Try your wipe following this line. So as this wipes across the screen, have it work as the wipe. Does that make sense? You want to, we can showcase something later to showcase that. Also, since we're picking your thing apart, okay, fade to black, but we have this white flash thing that happens here. Okay, well, let's go into slow-mo. Auto. Let's watch it one more time. This is just making it just, yeah, what's that thing? Is it supposed to be lightning or is it like an effect that goes on the footage?
Yes.
All right. Well, it's distracting, right? I would consider, if it was me, it feels like an error, like a graphic or something that was going to come up. Maybe just fade down a little quicker. Obviously, it's like one frame, right? Like maybe it's supposed to be there in whatever the footage you took it out, but let's just take a look. I think it's really fun. I think your piece works really well. Any other comments, or we're being critical, of course? Oh, I think we just need to turn it up in here. Yeah, I don't, yeah. It's definitely the speakers in here. So I think it's, if we watch it on a headset, it would be better. Good job. Great job. Good job. It was just hard to clip. So I think, yeah, no, I think you were using other people's edits. I think that feels like it. But when you do that, you need to be concerned about those little elements that like, hey, seems like mistakes when we don't use it correctly. So great. Anybody else wants to share something right now? If not, we're going to go on to the lecture, and then we can of course edit in about 40 minutes once I'm done yapping at you. Okay, nope, let's get started. All right, open up Premiere like always. I'm going to share my screen. In fact, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to take a Geronimo provided me with a Tylenol, and I'm going to take a Tylenol so we can all watch me deal with the headache. Hope you all had a good break. As a reminder too, I want to remind everybody, look, there's a box for a package. That's environmentally conscious. It says you need scissors. Okay. Oh, no, I'm just strong enough. Okay, as a reminder, next Monday, the lab will be open. There won't be a Zoom at 2:20. I will upload a pre-recorded lecture that you all should watch. But those of you who want to come and work in person, Geronimo is going to open up the editing lab for you, and Jason will be here to assist. But I will not be here in person. So just please, I'll send an announcement in class. I just want to remind everybody. So feel free. Make sure also when you're watching your Zooms that you comment on them and in the discussions. Again, I can see if you're not here in person and if you're not here on the Zoom, you are required to watch the Zooms. And maybe saying that on the Zoom where people tend to seem like they're not watching it is a bad call, but I will remind people online as well. If you're an online only student, you should be watching all the Zooms and commenting in the discussions and posting the previews of your work like Mateo's been doing and like many of the students have been doing. See, comment. Wow, Tim drank water on camera. It was really weird. He took a couple of pills. All right. Let's get started. I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to open up Adobe Premiere. All right, there's garlic right there. All right. So I'm going to go file. Let's close all my projects. Yes. File. Let's close all other projects. All right, we got to. Should I comment on YouTube on the videos? Mateo, you can, or more likely on Canvas. I'll have a discussion where you can comment, you can click and watch it on Canvas, and then discuss it there. That's actually my preferred place. Make your comments in Canvas to get credit. But again, if you show up on Zoom or you show up in person, I'm marking your participation that way. And everyone else who doesn't attend regularly should be commenting on the discussions on Canvas. All right. Feel free to comment if you have questions. All right, I closed projects. I'm going to close this project too. And now we are in your share. What? Okay. My screen share is okay, I'm sharing my screen again. It wouldn't let me you show my opening sequence. Okay, here's our project. Again, everything looks offline. So let's select it all again. Remember, we're going to link our media. Okay, we're going to find it. All right, we found it. All right, we brought everything back. Here was our piece that we worked on last time. We are messing with our edits and transitions, right? All right. We talked about transitions. We talked about audio big time last week, right? We talked about the different layers and how to bring up and down our audio. Today, let's talk a little bit about graphics. So we know how to make edits. We know how to make transitions. We know basically how to do basics of everything. Well, I'm going to talk about, well, what if I want to do, credits, right? What the heck happened? Okay, there we go. I want to do my credits. I want to be able to mess with different elements here. Okay, so we can see I actually have a text layer already right here, but I'm going to delete that. And let's go here to the end. Let's go right here. All right. All right. So Command T, that's our hotkey. Command T is going to build what's called a text layer. And the text layer automatically shows up on this new layer right here. Look, and I can turn it off and on. It's considered its own layer of video. But looking at it, we know that it's got a transparency layer, right? So the transparency layer allows us to make a layer text. And what's interesting is I can click here on my tab, and I can click up in my program window and see the text right there. Thank you, Geronimo. I really appreciate it. And I'm going to go ahead and say, thanks, Jerome Eno. Here, I spell it right, Geronimo? All right, so I'm gonna say thanks. There's no H. Okay. All right, well, we're gonna say text example. Example. Okay. Text example. All right. Now, what's interesting and a big thing to note specifically is our text program in Adobe Premiere is missing a critical feature. Do you know what that critical feature is? There's no spell check. Why? Because that it doesn't want to, like, you're going to put names, you're going to do what? Whatever. There's no spell check. What do I do when I build fonts? Because sometimes I build fonts for closed captioning, or sometimes I build fonts for someone's name, or I'm doing a title. If we're making filmmakers, we're probably going to do our credits at the end and then fonts at the beginning. How do I do a spell check? Well, guess what? Anything I type on the screen, I tend to copy and paste it into a Google Doc or a Word doc and just see like, hey, did I spell everything right? Because I'm dyslexic, especially when it comes to typing and spelling. I'm horrible at spelling. So you can see that this is where if I'm ever going to get notes on my edits, they're going to be like, hey, by the way, you spelled the company that you work for wrong. Oh, shoot. That was a typo and Premiere didn't tell me. Okay. But that's an easy fix, or it's an easy way to learn that before I export anything. I always love to have other people watch it and potentially see errors and or I can fix it there. Okay, so now I have text example and I type text example, but I don't like its placement. I don't like most about it. Well, I'm going to go here into my effects control and realize, oh, here's my text right there now. And look, it has a lot of options that I can change. And actually, this effect window, I tend not to work out of this effect window. I actually have, which you may have seen this panel up over here where I have my coloring, my Lumetri color, but I have a thing called Essential Graphics is another window tab that I use. And I really like this as my text editing tool. And we can see that I have text example here. And what I can then do is I can do a lot of things. First and foremost, I'm going to go down to text. And this is like paragraph in your Word docs or your Google Docs. We can change the font. All right, what font do we want to go with? Shout out your top 10 favorite fonts. Just kidding. You don't have to do that. There we go. Here we go. Here you go. I'm going to choose phosphate, which is one that I have on here. Okay. And then look, I can change the size. Oh, look, I made it too big, but it's falling off the screen. So what am I going to do is I'm going to change the X and Y axis and I'm going to put it here in the middle. And then we have, oh, beautiful text example. Great. Do we love it? Is it everything that we wanted more? No, it looks horrible. All right, let's fix it some more. Okay, so we're going to select it all. Other elements that we can mess about with here. Well, first and foremost, we did our phosphate. We also have a font style here, which is inline or solid. Now we can see a solid just gets rid of that line. Now, if we choose a more normal font, like let's go with, I don't know, Helvetica. Is that a good one? Helvetica. Okay, we can see what's interesting about Helvetica here is it has several different options. So Helvetica Bold looks different than Helvetica Light or regular or Bold Oblique, which is kind of like italicized. But okay, let's go with that. All right. Other elements we can know is we can actually align our text. So this is left, center, right. We can do up, middle, down, right? So let's go middle, let's go center, middle and center. Now it's there. Okay. Other things to note. Well, right here, we have here, everybody this semester's been owning me about this, but this is the opacity of this layer. So if we make the opacity go to 33%, we actually can see that it's slightly going more see-through. And actually, you know what? Let's just go ahead and make it bigger for everyone to see. Okay, better up there? Yep. Better at home. Okay, so you can see all the way gone. We can control the opacity, right? All right, okay, styles. We don't have any built-in styles for this. Other noting, okay, let's look at this. Let's say I want it to look like this. Text example. Well, okay. Okay, let me put in the middle. I'm gonna put it, justify it in the middle. But look, it's what's going on. I have a 2-line, right? But what's going on there? Is it centered? Is this perfectly centered? Would you be happy watching this? Yeah, Jason loves it. Well, what is it? Well, what I'm trying to get at is it's left justified, right? On the 2-line, we can definitely see left justified, which means the text is there. But if we want it center justified, which is right here. All right, now let's do this. Okay. Now we can see it's center justified, right? So that's kind of more what we're going to do with a video or a text here that's, we want center. Now if we're writing this and then having something else go on, we can talk about it. But I bring up 2 lines here because we get all these other paragraph options. Most notably is leading right here, which allows me to adjust how far up or down this is. Our tracking, we can actually do something like this. Ooh, looking cool. This one is, what's this one called? Baseline shift. This one's interesting because look, I can select one specific character and affect it individually by itself. Why would I want to do that? Well, what if it said, what if I did this? Check this out. Okay, I'm gonna select my 2. I'm actually gonna make it smaller. And then I'm going to, oh, look, what's Tim doing? He's being a real wacko, right? Oop. Baseline shift. Oh, is it my tracking? Oh, okay. I think I have to select both of these to then. All right, there we go. All right. So there you go. Now we got text squared example, text squared example. See, and there's ability to affect each one of these. Now, here's another notable thing to do. Now let's say, oh, look, now I messed that up. But if I go back and say text, oh, look, I'm copying all of that. Well, I don't want to copy that. So let's go back text. Let's just delete that formatting so we don't have to deal with that. But what if I wanted to say text and then add it to? Well, what's notable about this is, let's scroll up a little bit. Well, I told you Command T gets you a text layer, but also if we go into our tools, we have a text tool. T is the hotkey. And what's interesting is if I have this text layer and I am selected on the text layer and then I click anywhere in the text layer, what happens is it's going to give me another range of text inputs, but it won't. So let's say I want to just draw 2. Okay, so there's my 2, right? And it's on the same layer, but if we look up here, I actually have 2 separate adjustment layers. So I have my text example, which is 1, which is interesting because if I select my text example and then I change it, we notice the 2 stays in the same place. And in fact, if I make everything bigger, the 2 remains the same. And in fact, now the 2 is hidden behind, or actually it's on front because it's on the top. On here. But what then I can do is I can go and select the 2, and guess what? I'm going to adjust how I want to adjust it. And now it's up there. And in fact, while I'm at it, let's make it a different font. Let's make it Courier. It should be everyone's favorite fonts if you're in screenwriting. In fact, let's do Courier New. Ooh, let's make it bold. There we go. That looks more like our screenplays. All right. So now we actually have one layer in here. We have one video layer rather than having multiple video layers, because we could make these all individually video layers, right? That makes sense. Why is this important to keep it like this or not? It just gives you ability to play around with it. Now, what's interesting is now that we have this as its own independent video layer, what I'm going to actually do is we'll put it over here. And because it's on our timeline, we can go into the effects and use our transitions we learned from last time and put our cross dissolve on this layer. And now we can see, it was a bad point to do it, but we can see that we can actually now affect everything that's in this text layer. Well, there's a big flash edit there, so fade in and fade out, right? Okay. So what else can we do in these? So we have these different layers. What else can we do in here? Well, other fun areas that we can mess with is we can actually select this layer and we're going to change the color. Shout out my favorite color. Jason, you know my favorite color? Wrong. Not even blue. It's orange. Yeah, obviously. I was going to orange right there. Orange is my favorite color. All right. That's on the final. JK, JK, JK. Okay. All right. So we can see that, look, it also only applied to that one layer, and we'll keep it that way for now. Okay. So fill right here. Fill is how you adjust your color. And you can see also how I affected it was I just clicked on the color and it gave me the color tool right here. Now the color tool is great for multiple reasons. Number one, I can go in and select any color I want. And look, as I drag it, it can it changes there. I can actually like choose a point and slide my color scale up. So I can like kind of do, okay, ooh, I like that. That works on my image. And we can, make it more white or more darker up here. What's also fun down here is we can see this is our hex key. And that's the hex key is actually every single color digitally has a hex key. And you can actually look up a color, find out its hex key, and that gives you the RGB of the color. And you can take it anywhere on any computer and type in that code. It should be a uniform color. Okay. Our Photoshop and illustrators will know this. Other interesting element here is right here is our eyedropper tool. An eyedropper tool, I can select and it will choose any color that it hovers over. So you can see like, oh, I want it to be the same color as this guy's glove. And I want it to match perfectly, right? Like I could go in and eyeball it, but I want it to match, and everything kind of looks green on their horrible thing up there. But look, it'll even like choose, oh, I want this purple from over here, or, oh, I got off of it because I hit that. But we can select, and yeah, let's go off the orange of his glove. Now, notably, remember your lighting matters, right? Like we can see that his orange glove actually has a darker orange right here or a brighter orange over here. So I'm going to go and choose the orange that I want to work off of. And now I can say, okay. And knowing it, look, I can write down FF6B1F, and that's going to give me that color anytime I pick it in any program. Make sense? Great. I'm going to move you guys over here just because I think you're blocking me over here. Okay. Other thing to note when we're going to looking at our different appearances here. Oh yeah. While we're at it, a bunch of different program options. Like here's bold, here's italics, all caps. And we're already in all caps, upper, lower. That's a subscript. It's kind of what I did here. Another subscript will make it smaller, but like if I select this and I say that, there we go. That's an easier way to do when I was my example. Underline, et cetera, et cetera. I'm gonna let you mess around with all of these, but basically you come in here and you can mess around. All right. The other elements I want to show you right here is a stroke. I'm having a stroke. No, sorry, that wasn't funny. Okay, but we're gonna do a stroke. Who knows what a stroke is? Outline, great, good job. All right, so I turn on my stroke right here, and it looks like it did absolutely nothing. So pretty good. Oh, what happened? Selected off of it.
Yeah, the height. Unselected.
Oh, I unselected. Thank you, thank
You
you.
have to hover over like a certain text. With the stroke. Ooh, I thought you were a teacher.
I know what I was doing. All right, Jason. All right. So you can see now we have a white outline or the stroke. So adjusting our stroke here, what's notable is that number 4. What does the 4 represent? 4 represents the thickness of the stroke. So if I go down to 1, we can still see it's slightly there, but not as dramatic. Or if I go to like that, way too much, right? But look, something like that, and we can deselect to see it. We can see like, okay, this kind of looks like we're going to town with our outline. What's also notable about the stroke is, yes, again, we want to select it all. We can change our color. What color goes good well with orange? I don't know, purple? Sure, why not? Okay. Wow. Kind of looking Lakerish, right? But we can note that like, okay, so now looking at the outline, that just gives us some ability to mess about with it, right? So if we can turn off the stroke here. What about a background? Background gives us basically instead of being opaque, it gives us something on top. Maybe we want to put this on because our subtitles, you can't see through the subtitles, or for example, let's turn off the background. And what if we were white? Okay, the white kind of blends in on the white of the soccer player. So maybe I want a background. Okay, but with the background, maybe I want the opacity to be not as dramatic. I want to like make it extend a little bit more, and I want it rounded. Okay, we understand background. Also, guess what? What if I wanted it red? Ooh, looking good. Also, I can make it solid. All right, this looks like a YouTube subscribe button, right? A little bit. All right. All right, let's turn off that. What if we had a shadow? The shadow knows. Okay, Jason, since you're the teacher, what's the shadow do?
It highlights everything.
You're wrong.
Oh, man.
Wrong. F. All right. Let's turn on our shadow. Our shadow here. We can actually see when I raise and lower the opacity. Can you see where it appears? We can see. Watch the E, especially at 100% shadow. It's kind of giving at 100%. It's harsher, right? But really, what the shadow does is it gives us a little outline that acts as a shadow. Notably, we're not seeing much of it's super close. But right here, this one is distance. So we're 7 pixels away. And what I can do is, oh, look, when I move it, we can for sure see, okay, it looks. And at 0, we can't really see it because the shadow is behind. Now we can see that, let's move the shadow off right here. It's more dramatic that way, right? Where we can actually are seeing these shadow elements. Again, with the opacity, we can make it more or less. But what's notable right here is our angle. And the angle is what you're looking at, which is kind of like a, think of your light source. So depending on where your angle is, The shadow is like excuse me, it's gonna be at the opposite of that. So if we scroll around, we can see, oh, look, it's like the source is changing. So it's like the light is pointing up now instead of pointing down, or we can make it go straight down or left or right. I usually tend to go this angle. All right. Blur. Woohoo. Song 9. Hey, you like, there we go. That joke, I do it every time. And some semesters no one gets it, and good. I'm glad you
Any other human being than Blur.
did. Really?
Yeah.
It was a song. Woohoo was a song when I was in high school. So there you go. You're the rarity. Okay. All right. Blur, we can see, we can make it less harsh. Look, our shadow is really hard there, or this is like for those of you in our production class, what did I do to the light? Okay, the light's right there. And now our shadow looks like this. What did I do to our light source if we were in production class learning about lighting? Jason knows, but I'm waiting for Braulio here, who Nick should know too. What did we do to the light? Were you in the lighting lecture?
Yes, I was.
Yes, okay. So what did we do? If the shadow was really harsh on the person, what did we put on the light to make the shadow less harsh? Yeah, there's a screen, starts with a D, ends with a fusion. Yeah. Diffusion, it's like putting diffusion on your light source, okay? So these are all elements. And guess what we can do with the shadow as well? Well, we can choose and make our shadow a color. Ooh, doggy, look at that, looks good. All right, but let's blur it a little bit. It's pretty Shrekish. Okay, we can do that. Let's change our angle a little bit, but let's make the opacity. Okay, just a hint of Shrek right there. Looks horrible with our burned green thing up here, but you can see these are all different elements that you can add or do. You can actually add multiple elements here too. If I wanted to add a secondary shadow, let's make it black. And let's make it all the way. Oh, am I not? See, I can affect just one specific. Oh, actually, it looks like it's affecting them all. Yeah, look. I'm making a secondary shadow for some reason. Pretty cool. All right. All right. Any questions on all of this font stuff, fun font stuff? But Tim, I gotta make a credit? How do I make a credit? Okay. Yeah. Well, just like any text, which is its own video layer, right? We put dissolves on it. This is super cool for our text example. What we can do here now, I'm going to move the chat over here. What we can do now is I can 100%, and you can see all of the stuff that we did came over here. You can actually affect it over here. It's just more condensed and less fun to mess around with. But look, we have our transform, we have our positions, we have our scale, we have our opacity, all of the normal motion stuff that we're going to mess about with this text layer. So what does that mean? Well, that means I want to put a keyframe on my position. This is going to be my ending position, and I want it to fly in. All right. I'm actually going to get rid of the 2 because I don't want it. Well, actually, check this out. Here's our text example. Cool. All right. And then from right there, I'm going to go up to I'm going to turn this on, and I'm going to go right there. And I want it to be 0. All right, check it out. Let's watch. Boom. Okay. Well, I wanted to go faster, right? Faster, must go faster. All right, let's try that again. Boom. Okay. Do we like that? What what's interesting too is you see what happens. Our render, of course, isn't going to show it slow, but then we see, okay, our shadows here are harsher than what they look like when they. So if we changed it to full, let's that's what it would look like. Okay. So look, why do I say that? So, you know, if you want to do stuff, you can rotate it, right? Like, I'm rotating I'm going to turn off the 2. I'm rotating the 2, but if we wanted to rotate, you know, we could make it spin or whatever you want. Yeah, there's so many ways to affect graphics here in your this. Well, okay. Tim, I want it to be credits though. Like I type in all my people's names, I want it to scroll up. Well, do I have to do this? Do I have to manually go in and change my position and have it start here? And then, all right, starting there. Let me get rid of these keyframes. And then I'm going to have it end here. All right, well, that's one way. That's one way to do it, right? Oh, then I got to time it all, right? Okay, that's really annoying. Well, they actually have they have a way to design it, and we're going to talk about it now. And what's interesting about our graphics here is I'm just in the edit. There's also a browse tab, and the browse tab gives us a bunch of pre-built graphic options. Oh, cool, Tim. What does that mean? Well, that allows me to go through and see, oh, there's actually a bunch of graphic interface that I want to do here. And oh, look, classic credits, bold credits, angled credits, simple broadcast captions for screenwriting, right? So what I can do is I can actually choose something. Let's do our bold credits. Okay. I'm going to do that. I'm going to click. Am I doing it? Yeah, that might be yep. All right, I'm going to click and I'm dragging down now my bold credits right here. Okay, you can see here's our bold credits. And it's actually giving us, it's already a pre-built template, basically, right? We're going to click roll. And we're going to. All right, so the roll option gives us normal credits. You can design how long you want it to be or how short you want it. Could have actually done it with our other text as well, right? Could have done roll. But we have a bunch of elements on that one already. Okay, so we have this. We're gonna go in and type all the stuff we want. We're gonna check our that. We're gonna, you know, manually adjust everything on the screen. And then with here, with our pre-roll, we can make it longer or shorter. Obviously longer, we'll make it. Look, we changed did I change the angle? Roll, that's what we want. Oh, it's because I have the roll. Okay, so watch. Okay, so we turn off the roll and we can see that this defaults in going in, right? And all of our graphic interfaces here are going to give you different options and different animations that are built in. And what's great about our animations, of course, are we don't have to design all of the animations individually. We can do this, like I showed you how to animate your single line of text. You can also dissolve them in, but this has all these elements. And if you have Adobe Premiere, you can go in and use one of these templates. Jason will appreciate this one. Well, give it a second. It's loading the graphic template. It's going. We chose a graphic intense one, I'm guessing. What, you don't like me? Look, media's found. It just took a second. All right. Well, I'm not saying you do. You have what?
I haven't made.
Well, you can make one, and it's easy to make one of these once you know how to build the graphics. But you can see, look, it's red, but we can see that, like, oh, look, it's what's interesting is there's multiple layers. There's an opaque layer. There's that going around. And what's fun about this graphic, super fun, Tim, is we can go super fun, Tim. Editing. All right, there you go. Editing of 1T or 2Ts. Absolutely, it's one. That's what I'm telling you. It's not going to tell you, hey, it's spelled wrong. It's going to be one of those things where you watch. And what's so then super fun. This just a quick knowledge point. I worked in live news broadcast for 3 years, right when I got out of college. And I worked primarily in graphics. I was dyslexic and made lots of spelling errors that went on live broadcast news. Tons of it. I don't know why they did it, but I learned a lot from it. And also, no one rewatches the news. When it's done, you move on to the next one. No one saves the news, right? Like, and I also started working when DVRs weren't really a thing. There weren't streaming. I worked on live news broadcasts when the final standard definition video broadcast ended. We were there making the transition, saying, hey, you need to get these HD devices. You can't watch SD anymore. But what is my point? This is what's called a lower third. When you see the news and this pops up and it identifies, now this would probably go over me because I'm super fun Tim, but let's pretend this is super fun Tim. And this would pop up and it would let people know. And if you watch GAF TV News, you'll notice that all of our interview subjects have what are lower thirds. And the lower third is just a way to identify the name. And so the first line is our subject, which will be the name usually. So it'd be, this is Alina right here, but is the name. And then the text that goes under it, who knows what it's called? In the industry. Oh, Jason's not so smart here. It's called a qualifier. It's your qualifier. It tells you what the person is. So it would be, that's why I put editing genius. That's my title. All right. And what's fun about this is your rotation speed. You can make the earth like go super fast or slow. Let's see.
Fighting his war.
See, the earth goes faster. Let's see how it only goes up to 20. So let's see.
Fighting his wars.
Looks like it. Well, let's see. Looks like this design probably won't. Yeah, 20's got a max, but we could make it go backwards. Imagine if
Wars. That is the way of dishonor.
Lois Lane. Yeah, look, see, look.
Fighting his wars. That is the way of dishonor. And all you.
All right, super good. Hey, we're making a video. All right, and we have other options. Longitude offset. I don't know what oh. This is all globe. Okay, we can affect all the globe animate. Okay, here we go. This is all just to control the globe.
Wars. That is the way of dishonor.
Oh,
And all you who disagree.
Okay, great, cool. And we can control, well, of course, we're going with or Shrek color. Yeah. All right, this is kind of Shrekish.
How do you not know the hex code?
I don't off the top of my head. It's more olive, but it's too neon there is the problem. I know it in my soul. I like that better. Okay. Here's our main color.
You need to put like shredders and on the layer too.
You can see it kind of highlights it, and we can adjust our title colors. and make it look super ugly, right? Like just the ugliest thing, but you can see lots of options. The one thing that we can't do is change this white color in the background. It looks like doesn't really give me that. I can change the fonts. We can see, and it adjusts accordingly. Now, what's interesting too is you can actually, okay. What's interesting in Browse here is you can, if you want to go and buy or make your own After Effect graphic template, you can actually go ahead. You can go to like a stock photo place and download one and then load. They're called MGORTs. And we can click right here and load motion graphics template. I wonder if I have any. I might not have any on this machine. Oh, I did it. MOGRT. Let's see if I have any. Searching only documents. Let's search this Mac. Oh, look, I have a couple. Let's import it. Let's say open. Oh, yeah, okay. Sure, let's overwrite it. Okay, let's scroll down and see what that one was even called. It was called text message. Okay. So you can see there's a lot of options and some I've already imported. Shoot. What was it called? Jason? Where is it? Oh, text message right here. There we go. All right. So check it out. Here's something that was built in After Effects that I've imported, and now I can go in and actually change look, tons of options here, right? This, I think, may have been for one of Grant's movies. Yeah. And I think once it's done thinking, spinning ball of death right here. Did I save? When's the last time I saved? Did you see me hit Command S? Huh?
I didn't see it displayed.
You know why it's messing up on me? It's because right here, this option right here,
Oh, yeah.
I changed my resolution to full, which means it's going to give us the highest resolution for everything. Now I quickly want to change this back to quarter because everywhere I scrub, it's okay. We can see how this text message works. Let's put it over somewhere. Again, it's a lot of graphics and it's pushing my processor, which is also running Zoom and recording. So, but hey, I'm just saying, the more graphical stuff we use, the more it's going to chunk and go slow and potentially crash. It'd be amazing if you guys saw my computer crash, but it happens. It happens. I'm not going to be like this guy who says Final Cut never crashes. Yeah, it never crashes if you run it on the best computer.
Because and how many crashes?
Well, first of all, I don't want to use Final Cut, so that would mean I'd have to use it. Or you want to keep track on how many Premiere crashes? So far, we've haven't crashed yet in class. Yeah, well, keep track of it.
Flee now or walk the bloody
It will happen. Look, okay, you can see, look. So you can see, like, this was designed to be like a group of text message. I think I did use this for in the couch or on the couch. And then what's interesting, right? Like, is we can go into our edit, click on here. It'll give us a ton of options. Ugh. I'm going to stop working with this because it's just so cumbersome. Jason? Jim and Tim? Well, why would I be texting my dad, whose name is Jim? And Jason, even better. My middle name is Jim. Yeah, well, Timothy James. I mean, but yeah, yeah. Tim Jim. Yeah, my parents didn't really think that out. So we can see, let's see, yeah, we can move. Okay, that's that. But we can change the color of the box. Look, okay, we're gonna make a track, right? There you go. Tons of options to mess with. I want you all to play around with these graphic tools. I mean, essentially, you're going to be designing your credits at the end. And if you're unless you're doing news like Jason and I, and use like a qualifier, just one more thing before we get into our editing portion. You can see that like there's actually some full screen stuff too. All right, let's pull this one in. If this doesn't crash anything. All right, let's see. All right. Let's take a look at what it does. Adobe
Never
Sport.
again shall anyone set sail to this land. And never
Why would I do that? Well, we may do this as content creators. If you're making a YouTube channel, you want your YouTube logo or whatever. And what's interesting is, oh, I don't want to use Adobe Sports, right? But this one doesn't this one, you can't change the logo. You can change the text in here. Jason Sports, okay? See, and we can change the fonts and stuff. But what we can do also is like, well, what if I have my own logo, Tim? Well, guess what? You can go through and look. Here's just a background. So potentially we could bring in that logo by itself. So there's actually like full screen, just textures, right? Like this is just a background.
never
So
again.
maybe I want to do like I'm doing a slide and I need to put up information, right? Like now I have a textured background that's more interesting than just black. Why would I ever use this? Well, A, maybe I'm making a corporate video. Trust me, I use stuff like this all the time. B, maybe I want my credits to be on something just more unique than black. Or C, maybe, maybe I just want a texture there that's something that I can mess about with. Oh, he was upset by that. No, sorry, but shouldn't give someone a hard time just for going to the bathroom. Are there any questions or comments based off of what we looked at today for text? I'm gonna go over one more thing and then we're gonna wrap it up. But these should be your basic understanding of the Essential Graphics tab. And also how to build graphics, right? Command T gives you a text layer. The big thing I want to go over now is I went over it slightly in a different one, a lecture, but I want to make sure everyone knows how to properly export your project. Now, key thing to know is whatever you want to make sure that all your layers are on. If they're muted or if they've been disabled, toggled on or off. If I toggle on or off my layers, whatever I export, it's not going to be there. Okay. So I have encountered issues where I export something like, oh, I can't see this. Oh, I had a layer turned off. You want all your layers turned on and all your audio turned on that you want to include. So I have everything turned on right now. So nothing's muted, nothing's toggled invisible. All right. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go File, Export. Okay. Export's going to take me to a couple different options here. The one that we want to do is File, Export Media, or we can see Command M, Export Media. All right, great. So now we're here. What's interesting thing to note too is, look, I went back. Hey, wait, what did he do? He just went back. Well, I went back. Remember, there's these three tabs: Import tab, Edit tab, and Export tab. I can also just click over to my export tab. It's going to say, okay, there's stuff on offline. I'm going to say, okay. I'm going to say, okay. Now, what's also notable, I'm going to go back over here to my edit tab. I didn't say this before. Anything that's in these in and out points is going to be exported. All right. So I can go to my cursor. I can hit I can hit O. You need to put your in and out points. If I don't have my in and out points, wait, hold on one second. I'm blanking on my hotkey right now. How do I do this? Is it shift? Is it? Hold on. All right. All right. Option. Option option I, option O gets rid of your in and out points. And I almost never do that. So look, I have no in and out points. Well, Tim, what happens if I go to export? Well, let's see what happens. Okay, cool. Okay, number one thing that I look at when I look at this window here is the cursor showing me basically this is our sequence right here. And wherever the cursor is, it's showing me an example of what's going to be exported. Now, what's notable is I don't have an in and out point. So instead, it assumes I want to export the entire sequence. Now, the sequence is going to export everything that's on the sequence that has media. Okay, well, maybe my sequence only has the 22 seconds that I've edited. Well, you all looked at my editing timeline, and you can see there's a bunch of garbage here, a bunch of garbage here. My edit's actually here. And we can actually see, oh, Tim's actually got more stuff over here. So what's notable is if I go export and I say, okay, I'm going to look at this number right here. And that number is going to tell me the total TRT, or total running time of what I'm exporting. And looking at that, how long is the video I'm going to export? Come on, we should be able to read time code now. 52 minutes, right? And what? 52 minutes and 23 frames. Okay, so that means that my last piece of media on my sequence ends at 52:23. And that means if I scrub all this way, okay, we see this. And we scrub here. Oh, look, there's a large portion that's just empty blackness. Okay. Oh, there's some more footage. And there's a lot of, we'll just be exporting blank nothingness. Make sense? So then what do I want to do? Well, on my, anytime I edit, I always want to go in and I want to go to the frame that I want and hit my in, and then go to my end frame and hit my out. Okay, what's notable too is I just went in and hit my in and my out, right? Well, did I get to the exact end? Do you want your YouTube video to have some black emptiness at the end? Yes or no? No. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually zoom in, and what I can do is I can use, I can go frame by frame. The left and right arrows let you go frame by frame. But what's notable is if I use the up or down arrows, the up or down arrows lets me use my snapping and snap directly to the next media that's highlighted. And that's what these blue lines are. So I can highlight anything that I want to be affected by my snapping tool. So if I go here, oh, I should have got rid of the, I should have cut. It's actually going to jump from every edit point too. So, it's, I hit the button. It's probably going to jump past. I'll delete the one that was taking us a while. Let's just give it, see, this is why I have no patience. I'm like livid right now. It's like, why are you making me wait? I used to, oh man, you don't even know, 10 years ago, that used to be my life. I would used to like do one thing. Yeah, let's get rid of the text messages because that one's annoying. Okay, so we can see if I go up, look, I'm hitting the up and down key, and up makes me go left and down makes me go right. And you can see it's jumping from every edit point, which is, or start of a clip. So this is helpful because now I can go to the end. And do I want to go to the end of the music? Well, what I want to do is I want to cut the music to go to the video. And then I'm going to hit out. And we can see that the very last frame, there's going to end with a dissolve on the video. And now I'm going to go to the start, which we're going to actually edit that. And let's go up, and I'm going to hit my in point. Now I have a properly adjusted in and out point. I won't have black at the beginning or the end. All right, let's go back to the export. Yes, I know there's stuff offline. Yes, okay, cool. So my range is my source in and out. So look, now how long is my video? 19 seconds and 10 frames, right? So look, we could actually do, I want to do the entire source. I want my in and out point. I work my area or my custom. Always do source in and out. That's the number one. And we can scrub through and just make sure everything looks good here. Scaling, scale to fit. Okay. Now I would hit export, but no, I'm not going to hit export because there's a couple more things. We have to go here into our media settings. First and foremost, it's going to just take the name of the sequence. So we can see intro new, but I'm going to say Tim. Oh, no. I'll do my client first, Gav. I'm going to do my class, MCTV 43. I'm going to do my name, video 01, and I'm going to do my version 01. All right, that's a lot of naming conventions, but this helps me as a longtime editor. I've gone through many versions, and then I like to keep like 2 or 3 of the latest or important versions. Okay, location here is going to let me choose where I want to save it to. I'm going to here, and let's do a new folder. Export, create. Let's go save. Okay, that's where it's going to go. Now, what's interesting here is our preset. This is how we're going to export it. Now, by exporting it, what does it mean? There's different codecs that get different actions or different results. And what you can export something in a codec that's designed for YouTube. You can export something that's specifically designed for a different. We can edit something in one time frame and then export it out differently. Now, the key thing to note is, what if I edit something in standard definition that's 720 by 480, but I export it for 4K? What's going to happen to that video? It's like anything. You take an image, right? And imagine you take that small image on your phone. You take an image and then you blow it up. You pinch it open, right? You go in and let's like I take a picture, but there's someone far away in the background, but I use that pinch zoom, right? That's a good example of what digital zoom, or you're basically zooming in on the resolution. Now, your picture might be a big resolution, and so you can zoom, but eventually if you zoom in on that person who's way in the background's face, what is their face going to look like? Blurry, right? Which is low resolution. So if you take something that's small and you blow it up big, what's going to happen? It's going to be blurry. It's not going to look good, right? And so that's why we want to edit our piece. That's why we want to shoot something. The counter effect, though, is if you're working with something big and you shrink it down, what happens? Looks fine, right? Like, basically, it's better to go from big to small than the small to big. All right, so what does that mean? That means considering we can look at my output here, we can look at, this is what I've been working in. I've been working on an H.264 codec, which is a pretty standard video codec at HD settings. So that's 1920 by 1080. If I export right now, it's doing a match source, which means it is matching whatever my settings on my sequence are, and it's using its best guess to export specific codec. This should be fine, especially for H.264. Pretty standard. It's also going to, H.264 is good codec for a small file size, right? But what if I don't want a H.264? I want something higher resolution, right? H.264 has its limitations, can have issues with motion blurring, usually is the main one. But I'm going to tell you, like 90% of the time, most of your streamers and YouTubers are making H.264s, which end up being an MP4 format, right? If we export it, we can see it right here, .mp4. But I can click my format here and change my format. Now it gives me a bunch of different options. I can make an anime GIF. I can do Apple ProRes. I can do Blu-ray. PNG. I can make images out of here. QuickTime. QuickTime, let's choose QuickTime. Notably, we can see once we do QuickTime, it's going to change it to an MOV. MOV is a much bigger file. It's going to be a bigger export file. And now we can do our presets and we can go in and look at all of these different settings. Well, I know it's 1080. I want high quality 1080. Okay, it's going to say that. It's going to say, oh, but so I chose a preset that was an H.264. But let's go to QuickTime. And now look, it went back to custom. So let's click here into our video and we can see our codecs changed. If we go here to high quality HD, we can see that we can see all of this information here and our format H.264 and it's match source. Let's do more. Let's, where's it? Our codec. Okay, let's go back here. Let's go. I'm going to working just as an example. You feel free to mess around, but QuickTime, Apple ProRes, okay? And Apple gives us a bunch of different codecs you can do it in. Uncompressed, that's going to give you the biggest file. And so what compression is, it's actually taking your giant file, right? Our red files that I gave everybody was 300 gigabytes. And you want to turn that edited piece into something that's not as 300 gigabytes. So we're going to actually have to compress, and the different compressions, we can do more research, but basically the different compressions will give us different outputs. What's interesting here is match source. So match source is on. Match source is going to match and say, my frame is 1920 by 1080, but guess what I can do? Look what I can do. I can actually go and like, okay, now it's there. What's notable is like, look in our example, now there's black bars on the side. Okay, well, what if I want to put it in standard def? It's fine. It's gonna fit the frame, quad HD, whatever that is. Oh, see, that's better. That's 2K. All right. Why would I mess with that? Oh, I'm messing with this if I want to mess with it specifically and play around with it. Personally, I don't, there's only been like unique cases that I've actually had to use really weird export issues. And that's when someone specifically wants something to match theirs. The hardest export I've ever had to do was I had a video that ran on the jumbo screen in Time Central, New York. Times?
Square.
New York,
Square.
wait.
Yeah.
Times Square.
Yeah.
There was a Times. I said Times, didn't I? Did I say Square? I said New York Times, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. Times Square in New York. And I had a video run up there and it was a weird aspect ratio and it was a nightmare. But we got it. And I had a video run in Times Square. Pretty cool. But these are all options you can go through and mess with, and we can talk about it. Realistically, I'm not going to go into every option. What's notable too is like here, do I only want to export video? Do I only want to export audio? They're both toggled on, but sometimes I'm like, I don't want any audio, or I just need it in video. Well, guess what? It's not going to be, it's just going to be black. What's notable too is in our format, we have just audio options. Here's AIF. There's, you can do an MP3, you can do a wave, and that's, look, there's not going to be any audio, or not any video. All right. And metadata, you can turn off the metadata. The metadata is information that's built into your files. Depending on how much information you're putting in on your camera, it's going to tell you the date things were shot. It's going to give you locations. It's going to give you like geotag stuff. I always leave it on. I've never not needed it. Look, we can put on captions. I don't think we have any captions on here. That's why it's not giving us that option. Okay. So once we have all these settings we've messed about, look, I'm going to go back to my custom and I'm going to go my custom high quality HD and be happy with that. I named it how I wanted it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say export. It's going to pop up a window. You can't edit while it's going. Obviously 19 seconds is going to take longer than 19 seconds to export it. But from here, longer the project, also depending on your compression, it'll take long. It could take longer or shorter based off of that. And then number one fact, once you export 100%, you are doing yourself a disservice, and all of us, watch your freaking video before you upload it, okay? Because there could be render issues I've encountered. Like I said, oops, I forgot to turn on a layer, or oops, the audio, I left on the wrong audio, or oops, there's obviously some type of compression error with this or whatever. So I'm actually going to stop sharing my screen, I think. And now I'm going to, let's open up what we just videoed, or our video. Where did I put it? In Lacey, and I put it in Gav exports. All right. It's going to open up here. Now I want to share my screen again. Let's do this. And it's QuickTime Player. All right. And here we go.
Never again shall anyone set sail to this land. And never again shall we take such orders, serving the king, fighting his wars. That is the way of dishonor. And all you who disagree, flee now or walk the bloody
Brilliant, right? No notes. Perfect. All right. So then, like, I do like to watch it and be like, oh, okay, there's a lot of issues, and I'll go and make another version. But sometimes in my edits, I just sit there and watch the export. Okay, that's it for today's discussion. Editing will happen till, I'm gonna be here till 4:30. Okay, you can stay as long as you want, or you can leave at any time you'd like. But I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna actually stop the recording now. Goodbye.